Hello, hello, hello. It's Kim in the TEN. Kim out of Tennessee right now. Tennessee. Take me to another place. Take me to another land. These kids nowadays don't know about that good music. Anyway, so I'm just gonna talk to y'all while I drive to the hotel right quickly. I was speaking with one of my Better Body builders a few moments ago, and we had a really great conversation. The session today for the seminar that I am in has been awesome. But right after I got out, I just went into my WhatsApp group and let everybody know, hey, I'm available now. I'm free now. If anybody has any questions, if we need to go over anything, because I feel very strongly. I know what it meant for me in my first company to have that mentorship. And there were so many things. I've talked about this on previous videos, but there were so many things that I thought were harmless, that I thought were not a big deal. And when I consulted when I sought counsel, when I spoke with my mentor about things that I was thinking about doing, or in some cases, things that I had already done, he was able to point out some things that I didn't even have any thoughts about. Like, they weren't, you just don't know what you don't know. And that's why it's so very important to have mentors, to have coaches, to have people that you can get advice from, whether or not they know it. Like, there's two types of mentors. There's the ones that you have from afar, right? And these people, you don't have access to them. You don't have their phone number, and you can't call them and get instantaneous feedback. But then there's also the mentors that you do have that access with. And it's important to have both. And so I am where I am right now because I want to learn from people. And oh my gosh, I'm learning so much. Now, by the same token, knowing what it meant for me in my first company, have that access to my mentor, to my sponsor, I extend the same offer to people that I'm personally working with. I told you earlier, I don't chase people, but I do make myself available to all people on my team. I more so look at your effort versus, rank or money. Now, there are other things that it does depend on rank or money for. But as far as will I even talk to you at this phase of my business? Yeah, I'll talk to anybody. But this is very important. This is very important. I can only talk to you about what you are doing, not what you plan to do, what you're thinking about doing, what you saw someone else do. I don't live in the world of hypotheticals or assumptions. So it's only your activity that you have done that I can talk to you about. So this Better Body builder that reached out to me, she's pretty newer on the team, and she was talking to me about moving her samples. And it was a really good conversation, because I don't want anybody on my team to be out there acting like detox tea Santa Clauses, okay? I have made a lot of sales from people that got a sample from somebody. Either the person didn't have their contact information on it, or they called the person and they just felt like they weren't vibing with the person, so they got a free sample from somebody else. But then they went to YouTube, found my videos, got information about the product from my videos, and they were like, well, I don't want to buy from that other person because they don't know about the product, and I've been watching your videos for a few days, and da-da-da-da. And so, what do you say to that? I mean, there's not too much I can say. I mean, this is something that just happens way more frequently than you think. And people will think, well, nobody's buying from the samples. No, it's not true. People buy from the samples. They just don't buy from you. So with my team, I'm really reinforcing to them, do not, the samples that you paid for, either charge them for the shipping, or at the very least, make them have some kind of skin in the game, or make sure that you are being very smart about who you sample to. I like for my team to sample to people that they can basically backtrack, and people that they see within their daily course of business, their daily activities, their daily errands. So if it's somebody that you always check out at aisle number 2 when you go to the Publix, and that's your girl Veronica at aisle number 2, sample to Veronica, because guess what? In a few days, you can find Veronica at check out lane number 2. aisle number 2, whatever. Sample to your post person, because you know they're gonna be at the post office every single time you go. Sample to your mail carrier. Sample to people that you know. Don't just be out here, you at the hair salon and the lady sitting next to you, you like, here, try this sample. If you like it, my information's on the back. No, you always get their information. You always have a conversation. You put value on that sample, and that's how you do that. So when we spoke about this with my new Better Bodybuilder, and she spoke to me because, and that's the whole thing too, like, as a sponsor, I feel like it is your responsibility to educate yourself so that when your team comes to you asking for feedback, your only feedback is not just keep doing what you're doing and go through the numbers. Eventually somebody will buy. That cannot be your only feedback, y'all. Sales is psychological. It's both an art and a science. That's why I am right here where I am right now, to learn the art and science of sales, so that when my team comes back to me, I can give them some feedback that actually makes sense. So when she was talking to me and she said, what did she say? She said something like, why don't people get what they need? Like, why do people say they need stuff, or they, you know, why do people act like they want to do better, but then when you give them an opportunity to do better, they don't? And I'm like, that's just the way people are. But then the more we spoke about it, I said, it sounds like you're referencing a specific interaction, like, you know, something that actually happened, or you have something in mind. And she said, yeah, well, yeah, I do. And so I told her, well, tell me about it. See, when you're talking to people, you can't just pay attention to what they say. You have to pay attention to how they say it and what they are saying. So I said, tell me more about that. That simple question, y'all, tell me more about that. That question will make you so much money, not just with your team members, but with your customers, with it just helps. So tell me more about that. Let's dig a little deeper into that and let them speak. So when she told me about it, it was basically like a scenario where she had some former co-workers, and she wanted them, like, one person was interested, but then the other person wasn't, and then she thinks that the person who wasn't interested kind of rubbed off on the person who was, kind of tainted them, so to speak. And then I explored it. I'm like, hold up, how did these two people get in contact? So this was a face-to-face interaction? She was like, yes. I'm like, okay, well, hold up, did you come to them or did they come to you? And she was like, well, I went to them, you know, because I know where they were, and da 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 da. And I'm like, hold up, you went to them? I said, okay, so right there, if you weren't in the area and you took your time, you took your gas to physically go to them, you've already given them the position of power. Because in any interaction, there's a position of power. Whether you like it or not, whether you know it or not, there is a position of power. And power is not necessarily a bad thing unless it's used for a bad purpose, right? So by physically going to and when I pointed that out, I said, you already started behind the 8 ball. And then we were able to have a conversation about some of the things that she remembered them saying. And as I told her some tips and tricks and pointers in how to deal with situations like that, because a face-to-face interaction is different than when you're on the phone. And definitely if you have one or more people, if you have 2 or more people listening to you versus just one, it's all different. So this is why I don't live in the land of hypotheticals and assumptions. What a lot of y'all do is y'all will join a business like this, and then you want to sit down with your sponsor and say, well, what if the person says, and what if the person does, and what about in this instance, and what about in that instance? And you can spend your whole entire life doing that. I don't do that. I don't play the what if game. I want you to actually go out there and do something. Do something, and then let's talk about that. Okay? So in this particular example, that's exactly what my Better Bodybuilder had done. And because she had activity, because she came to me with a specific scenario, and we were able to dissect that interaction, and I broke some things down for her, she was like, I see exactly what you were saying. Oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. Okay, so now she knows next time some things to do better. Guys, it's very important that you understand this, not just from the perspective of being a sponsor, but also being a person who has a sponsor. If you want help, if you want assistance, you're always going to get so much better feedback if you bring them your activity, not your assumptions. And as a sponsor, if someone comes to you for help, please make sure that you are studying, you are learning, you are plugging in to people who know more than you, so that when people come to you with specific instances, you can't say, well, congratulations on just going out there and being in the streets. Good job. Just keep plugging away and eventually you'll get somebody. People, let me tell you something. I've told y'all before, people got to quit and clock. You can play that game if you want to. When people come to you, you better be able to give them some intelligent feedback. And you better be constantly growing. Like I said, and guess what? A lot of the stuff that she said was stuff that I literally just heard about an hour or two ago in the session. How do you become an attractive character to people? This has nothing to do with your looks. It has to do with the art of attraction, the art of seduction. And seduction is not always sexual. In case you guys do not know, some of the best salespeople, some of the best politicians, some of the most successful people in life, they have the power of sexual transmutation, which is not a sexual thing. It's where you take sexual energy and you're able to harness it. And I'm not going to go too deep into that, but I'm just telling y'all, like, there are some things that people do to you. There are some words that people use with you. There are some tactics that people use on you that you are completely clueless about. But those things are the reasons why sometimes you find yourself with a bag full of goods sitting next to you in the car seat, and then you're trying to sneak them into the house so your husband or your wife doesn't find out. Or those things that people are doing to you, that's the exact reason why you'll make a purchase and you know, forget the husband and wife, you're questioning yourself like, dang, I wasn't even thinking about buying anything like this today. How did this happen? Guys, it's not hocus pocus, it's a formula. It is a formula, and you owe it to yourself. I feel like if you have the audacity to call yourself an entrepreneur or a business owner in 2020, there's no excuse with all of the information that is at our fingertips for you to not become like just adamant, obsessed with developing the skills that help you to increase your conversions when you're having these cash flow conversations. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. So, again, that's what Kerry always goes. He always goes again. I'd be like, man, if you would give me one more time. But again, if you want help, bring some actual activity that you have done to the person that you are seeking help from. And if you dare to put yourself in a position of assisting people, then make sure you can provide some like intelligent assistance, some credible feedback. Make sure that you are constantly growing, not just out here cracking the whip on people, asking them to do a whole bunch of stuff that you're not doing, so that when they come to you and they ask for feedback, you don't even really know what to say because you've never done it yourself. Don't do that, y'all. Don't play with people's lives. Like, there's a lot of money in these streets. There's a lot of money to be made. And there's a lot of people out here that will gladly hand over their dollars to you. But you got to become skilled in what you are doing. Okay? And I'm telling you, I promise you this. I have found it to be true. I've tested it. And it works. The more intelligent your questions, the better your answers will be. The more intelligent your questions, the better your answers will be. But you got to do something. You got to be doing. People say, I don't want to do the wrong thing. Well, see, in my book, there is no wrong thing, because if you learn from, even if you don't make money, if you learn from something that you did that you call wrong, then it still was the right thing, because now you can go forward more intelligently, and the next time you probably won't make that mistake, right? So there really is no wrong thing. But I cannot steer a parked car. If you ain't doing nothing, guess what? We ain't got nothing to talk about. And I'm going to end on that note. So if you're watching on Facebook, before you leave me, why don't you hit follow and see first? And if you are on YouTube, hit subscribe and bang the bell to the right, ding dong. So every time I upload a new video, you'll be the first to know. Bye, y'all.